Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first day of the daily meditations. This will be a daily space for reflection where we can help each other connect with our purpose in Scouting and the importance of our role as participants in this conference.
Each day will have a different theme and symbols which will guide us throughout the conference. You're all invited to join us. Same time, same place, every day.
Today, we are beginning with our why. Why are we here? This also includes celebrating successes and discovering new frontiers.
So let's reflect on our life purpose and how it connects with our purpose in Scouting.
Please, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and follow our voice as we start with our short guided meditation.
Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in and out. Bring your awareness to your breath. Feel the air entering through your nose, filling your lungs, and gently exhaling through your mouth.
As you continue to breathe deeply and steadily, imagine a warm, golden light at the center of your chest. This light represents your inner purpose, your guiding star. With each breath in, see this light growing brighter and warmer. Let it fill your entire being, radiating outwards.
Now, think about the reasons why you're here in Scouting. What drew you to this community? What values and passions align with your involvement? Allow these thoughts and feelings to rise naturally.
Picture yourselves in moments of joy and fulfillment within Scouting. Think of a time when you felt deeply connected to your purpose, when you made a difference, no matter how small.
As you breathe, let this sense of purpose and belonging grow stronger. Feel it anchor you, giving you clarity and strength.
As you go about your day at the conference, remember the conversation you've just had. Think about how you experience your life purpose at different moments in your life and what this means in Scouting.
Take one more deep breath in. Embrace this light and purpose within you. And gently exhale, knowing that this purpose is always with you, guiding you. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, bringing this sense of purpose and connection into your day.
Now, take a moment to think of 1 to 3 words that summarize your reasons for being in Scouting. It can be words that represent your purpose or motivation. It's wonderful to see how we've discovered common purposes that unite us even more.
Thank you everyone for participation in this first day of meditation.
We hope to see you all tomorrow and continue discovering our purpose with a purpose, same time, same place.
Please leave the markets if you took any in the basket at the entry once you leave the plenary hall, and enjoy the day. The plenary is about to start, so we'll leave with the practical announcements now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 43rd World Scout Conference. We are so excited to have you here with us, whether you're joining in person or online. We would like to share some important logistical information to ensure you have an amazing experience. So please pay attention.
Language interpretation will be available in French, Arabic, and Spanish during the plenary sessions and in the breakout sessions marked as hybrid. Online participants can activate the interpretation during a plenary session using the Interprefy button on the right side of their screen. Activate the interpretation and select the language you would like to listen to.
If you are participating in person, you can pick up an interpretation device at the entrance to the plenary hall. Select the channel you want to listen to, and do not forget to return the device at the end of the session, as it will not be used in the breakout rooms. Interpretation during the breakout sessions for in-person participants can be accessed through an interpretation app, which can be downloaded to your smartphone. Please ask at the help desk for more information on how to find and connect to the app.
We want the World Scout Conference to be a welcoming, inclusive, and safe space for everyone. Our Code of Conduct defines the ground rules that apply to everyone taking part in this conference to ensure a safe event. Remember that you must follow the Code of Conduct at all times. Smoking is not allowed inside the conference venue. Gambling and the possession and use of illicit substances is strictly prohibited. To further ensure everyone's safety, please follow the security rules and wear your conference ID during the event. For any first aid needs, a medical team is available at the conference venue.
A Safe from Harm team and listening ears are ready to help. If you feel uncomfortable, threatened, or scared, or just want to talk to someone trusted, do not hesitate to reach out to the Safe from Harm team. Online participants can contact listening ears using the chat feature in the community section of the conference app. During the day, you can find the team at the listening ear space located in the Shahrazad room on level -4 or on call outside of program hours through the SOS phone line. Remember that it is your duty to report any potentially harmful situation you witnessed during the conference. You can do so by talking to a listening ear or by emailing safeconference@scout.org. For more information, please head to scoutconference.org/safe-from-harm. It's everyone's responsibility to make this event a safe and fun experience for all.
Stay up to date with the latest developments at the conference by following our official channels on Facebook, X, and Instagram. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your conference highlights and stories using the Scout Conference hashtag, #ScoutConference.
You can also tell us about your conference experiences through the Daily Evolution Survey, accessible anytime via the conference app. Please be aware that we are logging the speaking times of conference participants in the plenary sessions to compile demographic statistics.
Before we start, please take a look around you to identify the closest emergency exit. In the case of an emergency, follow the emergency signs and guidance from the conference team. Exits can be found at the back or sides of the plenary hall. The local emergency number is 112.
If you need any support, our help desk team is available at the entrance of the plenary hall from 8 until 18. Outside these hours, you can reach out to our online help desk team at www.scoutconference.org. by clicking on the Contact Us tab or via the Contact Us button in both the Attendee Hub or the conference app.
Thank you for your attention. We are about to start, and we hope you have a fantastic time at the 43rd World Scout Conference.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? How's the energy level? A lot of morning persons here, I'm hoping. Welcome to the second day of our 43rd World Scout Conference. It's nice to be here. I hope that by now you're all familiar with the venue, everyone is in the mood, you managed to catch up with some old friends and meet new ones. We're also welcoming our friends who are joining us online from around the world. So today is the second day of our World Scout Conference, and today we are discovering new frontiers. This is our theme for the day. We are diving into sessions that will expand our view beyond scouting and that are looking at broader trends and contexts from around the world that are shaping our new strategy.
Get ready to be inspired by some amazing keynote speakers, both from within and outside the scouting community. They will be sharing powerful insights on today's trends and discussing the impacts and role scouting can play in the ever-evolving world. We hope their knowledge sparks reflections and inspires you to embrace a new opportunity and tackle challenges for the Scout movement. Let's explore these new frontiers together. Without further ado, we give you the highly anticipated trends of the world.
Imagine a peaceful world, a peaceful and inclusive world. Imagine a world where every young person feels safe, valued, and heard. Picture a place where our differences aren't just tolerated, but they are celebrated. A world where every child, regardless of their background, has the chance to strive and succeed. In this world, learning isn't confined to the classroom. It extends way beyond into understanding each other, building bridges, and fostering empathy. It's a world where no one is left behind, where every individual has the opportunity to support and the support they need to reach their full potential. Visualize this. A community where kindness and respect are not mere words, but foundational principles, where every voice, no matter how small, is heard and valued. This is the world we are working towards, a world where every person has a place and every contribution matters. A world where every young person can look to the future with hope and confidence. A world where their dreams are not hindered by fear or prejudice, but are encouraged and nurtured. This is the world we can create. This is the world we must create. This vision is not just a dream, ladies and gentlemen. It is a call to action. We have the power to make it a reality by embracing and promoting these values in our own lives. We help build a future where all young people can achieve their dreams and feel empowered. Let's commit to this vision today. Let's foster a world of empathy, respect, and understanding, where every young person can flourish.
Imagine a world shaped by youth. Imagine a world where youth are not just participants, but leaders. Where our ideas, creativity, and passion drive the forces of change. Picture a future where young people stand at the forefront of progress, shaping the world that reflects their innovation, spirit, and boundless energy. In this world, learning is just more than memorizing facts. It becomes a dynamic journey of exploration, innovation, and problem solving. Education isn't about just fitting into a mold. It is about breaking it, pushing boundaries, and addressing real-world challenges. Every young person is empowered to make a difference, to create, and to lead with a purpose. This is a world we are striving to build. A world where youth lead the charge. A world where dreams are not just imagined, but realized. Where we are encouraged to dream big and are equipped with the right tools to turn those dreams into tangible realities. So, let us embrace this vision. Let us support and empower the next generation. Let us create an environment where youth are not only seen, but heard, where their potential is recognized and nurtured. Raise our glasses to the future, shaped by young leaders, a world brimming with possibilities, progress, and is driven by energy and the vision of young people.
Imagine a sustainable world. Imagine a world where every young person is not only aware of, but equipped to tackle the environmental challenges we face. Picture a future where sustainability is woven into the very fabric of our daily lives, guiding every decision and action. In this vision, learning transcends traditional education. It becomes about understanding our impact on the environment and discovering innovative solutions to preserve it. We foster a deep sense of responsibility and stewardship in every young person, empowering them to act as guardians of our planet. This is the world we are committed to building, a world where we live in harmony with nature, taking bold and decisive actions to ensure a healthy, sustainable planet for future generations. It's a world where sustainability is not an afterthought, but the heartbeat of everything we do. So, let us champion this cause. Let us inspire and equip our youth to lead the way in environmental stewardship. Let's work together to create a sustainable future where every action contributes to the well-being of our planet. Imagine the sustainable world where every young person is a catalyst for change, where our collective efforts ensure a thriving Earth for generations to come. Together, let's turn this vision into a reality. Thank you.
Conference. We will now be joined by a very special guest on stage, Ms. Amina J. Mahmood, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations and chair of the United Nations Sustainable Development Group. Prior to her appointment, Ms. Mohammed served as Minister of Environment of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where she steered the country's effort on climate action and efforts to protect the natural environment. Ms. Mohammed first joined the United Nations in 2012 as Special Advisor to former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, with the responsibilities for post-2015 development planning. She led the process that resulted in global agreement around the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the creation of Sustainable Development Goals. Ms. Mohammed began her career working on the design of schools and clinics in Nigeria. She served as an advocate focused on increasing access to education and other social services, before moving into public sector, where she rose to the position of advisor to the 4 successive presidents on poverty, public sector, reform, and sustainable development. Ms. Mohammed has been confirmed several honorary doctorates and has served as an adjunct professor, lecturing on international development, the recipient of various global awards. Ms. Mohammed has served on numerous international advisory boards and panels. She is a mother of 6 children and has 4 grandchildren.
Thank you.
Please welcome the Deputy Secretary General of United Nations and Chair of the United Nations Sustainable Development Group, Amina J. Mohammed, for her address.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the biggest, I think, what have I succeeded in life most is the 6 children and the 4 grandchildren. So that's it. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished guests, Scouts, good morning. It's a really big pleasure for me to be here to deliver a keynote at such an important session on the trends of the world, and there are certainly many of those. The first trend coming to my mind this morning are the increasingly complex challenges that the world is facing today. The more interconnected we are, the more complex it becomes. There are certainly more conflicts at any time since World War II, and our planet is suffering with the deadly effects of climate change, and all of these man-made. And I often, at this point, like to underscore the man, because they were in decision-making roles, and if we had women, we wouldn't have such bad climate change. So more women in the mix. And that goes for fossil fuel companies. It goes to the decisions we take when we're talking about industrialization and how green or brown that is. We have lost trust in many of our institutions, and to a degree in each other. The trend is no more positive when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, in 2 or 3 countries that I've been to recently, they don't want to hear about the Sustainable Development Goals. They talk about that in a political way that is undermining sustainable development in people's lives. In fact, only 17% of the Sustainable Development Goals are on track, with nearly half of them showing minimal progress, and worse still, over 1/3 of the SDGs have stalled or even gotten worse. Gender equality is a litmus test for how far our goals we really are, and we can say often here that that's where the real vulnerability is. And currently, at the rate of progress on our gender goals, it may take another 12 generations to achieve gender equality. Our world simply cannot wait that long, and I'm sure the energy in this room with youth, you'll tell me all of that has to happen yesterday. The second trend I'm seeing is about youth. Over the last 30 years, very little has changed in terms of youth representation in office and in politics. Young people are often not enough in rooms where important decisions are being made. More than half of the world's population is under 30, yet less than 3% of the members of parliament are under 30, while young women making up less than 1% of members of parliament. Despite global commitments to improving education outcomes, reducing violence, and increasing employment rates, many young people remain out of school, unemployed, and vulnerable to extreme forms of sexual and gender-based violence. Indeed, we cannot renegotiate the world of tomorrow on our terms without the input of young people, when the world of tomorrow will belong to young people. We need to reverse these trends. Through one of our initiatives at the United Nations, the Spotlight Initiative to end violence against women and girls, we have witnessed firsthand how young people are building a more equitable world where everyone can live free from violence. Through creative self-experience and expressions, peer-to-peer learning, advocacy, and digital technology, more than 8 million young people and activists around the world are driving meaningful and sustainable change and creating a better future for everyone. Your generation can be the one to end violence against women and girls by starting first and foremost in the home. Your 3 impact statements align perfectly with this vision, articulating exactly what we need to accelerate progress over the next decade, a peaceful, inclusive, and a sustainable world that is shaped by young people. They represent a pressing call to action that all of us should heed, and they certainly inspire us to consider a new way of youth participation. Participation that is diverse and inclusive. They call for all initiatives to be inclusive of young people in meaningful ways and in all of the strength of our diversity. Participation that is accessible and safe. The participation of young people needs to be fully accessible and safe. Promoting peace, preventing violence, or defending human rights cannot come at the cost of young people's lives and security any longer. Participation that is meaningful, and let me underscore meaningful. Young people must be engaged in meaningful and effective ways as full-fledged partners in all the decisions that shape the future, from conceptualization to implementation and monitoring and evaluation. This really does mean co-creation from the beginning to the end. These impact statements are an excellent pathway forward, but they also need a mindset shift. It's time to let go of our social and cultural beliefs that portray young people as inexperienced, indecisive. You, as Scouts, are the perfect example of young change makers leading efforts to combat the world's most pressing challenges. The World Organization of Scout Movements is one of the most important youth movements in the world. You put youth empowerment at the center. You encourage global solidarity in the face of our greatest challenges. You work hard for your communities for the 2023 agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. Above all, you are the flag bearers for the timeless values of responsibility, diversity, being a force for positive change in the world. And more than ever, we need structures and platforms like the Scouts movements to actively advocate for a world in which human rights of every young person are realized, a world that ensures every young person is empowered to achieve their full potential, a world that recognizes young people's agency, resilience, and positive contributions as agents of change. Young people are often the minds behind the greatest out-of-the-box thinking, and we need those ideas and innovations to help restore faith in our institutions. The upcoming Summit of the Future in New York is an important opportunity to mend eroded trust and reform multilateralism. I was deeply inspired by the 2024 United Nations Civil Society Conference in support of the Summit of the Future that gathered in May in Nairobi, where many excellent ideas were on display. Almost half of them, of more than the 2,100 participants, were under the age of 34. Young people spoke, and the message was unmistakable. The youth of today are contributing, are deeply interested, and must have a say in the future that we're shaping. So now is the time to listen. We have many challenges. We're in Africa today, and yet we see less and less participation in our decision-making. We see more burdens and suffering in conflict. We see unconstitutional changes of government that are popular, and popular by whom? By youth. And we should ask ourselves what went wrong with democracy. Perhaps not the values, but the models. And we need to question the orthodoxy of everything that has happened before. Because if we're to make the changes in the world that we need today, it is to have the courage of our conviction. It is to find the leadership and the representation, the movement, and to find the struggle in this together as we move forward. Yesterday, I talked about Palestine. Today, we are in Africa, and we're talking about Sudan, the Sahel, South Africa and Central Africa, the youth protests and the youth social unrest that we see in Kenya. All of these are reactions to a system that is no longer working. And systems have to evolve. They have to be fit for purpose, fit for the days that we're representing. And so I look very much forward to the intergenerational conversation that we will have today on the trends of the world, finding solutions together so that we can meet those aspirations and the rights of everyone, leaving absolutely no one behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amina Mahmood, United Nations Deputy Secretary General, for that highly inspiring and educating speech. We would like to invite you to take the center of the stage while we invite to join Melissa Fagali, WASM Youth Representative, and Noor Mohammed, WASM Scout Bureau Intern.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is such an honor to have you, Amina Mohammed, with us on the stage. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have a lot of questions to ask you. But let me just start by mentioning something you mentioned yesterday, which is how we are a united nations for present and future generations. You also spoke about intergenerational cooperation. So I have to ask, intergenerational cooperation is often celebrated, but unfortunately, power imbalances still persist. How can we ensure that the wisdom of the older generations doesn't overshadow the innovative ideas of the youth, particularly in movements like Scouting?
Thank you. No pressure. Thank you very much. It's great to see two young women here. I think we have to pay more than lip service to intergenerational conversations. And what's important is that what are we actually going to talk about? And how is that conversation, first of all, respecting everyone's opinion, hearing sometimes what we might not like to hear from one generation to another. So speaking with each other and not past each other is going to be, I think, one of the first parameters. The second, what are the issues and how are we going to take them forward? Come with a solution-oriented mind. For me, I will have the experiences that you've not yet lived, and you will, and I have that to bring to the table, but you also have a vision of the future and what it is that you want, and I think bringing the two together, we'll go further. And so it's that mindset that we bring to that conversation, that we are listening, that we're trying to find the solutions together, that the energy that one needs we take from young people, but the sure steps that we have to take so that we don't trip. And even if we do, it's okay, we can get up and we keep walking in the right direction. But the authenticity of an intergenerational conversation has to come from the issues, has to come from representation, has to come from what we really want to achieve out of it beyond just the conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. So my question to you is, with AI being one of the newest trends in the world, do you believe that accelerated developments in machine learning have the possibility to empower the education of young people? And then do you perceive there to be a potential risk of integration of artificial intelligence in educational institution, potentially rendering the young people's intelligence artificial?
Great question. Okay, well, I don't understand most of the artificial intelligence. I think I'm not my generation, but we're trying to understand it, and I think this is where these conversations are important. First, it's going to bring enormous opportunities into the field of education. I think that if we use this rightly, we will leapfrog, and many people will be included in education. But I also think that education it'll be done differently. We'll need different skills. I remember as a young person when the calculator was brought into the room and we were allowed to take it into the exam room, and I was thinking, this is cheating. You know, this is technology that we have to do this with our head, we have to do it by ourselves, but suddenly you had a calculator. Today you've got AI, and so therefore learning will become much easier. We will have the skills on tap. Today, traditional education will not necessarily be needed in the 9-15 years that we would have before. I see many women in rural areas, actually young women, who have learned how to master technology without a formal education and are accessing financial services. They are taking their skills to e-commerce, and they are selling their products around the continent already. So I think there's a really big side to technology that is going to enhance the world, health, education. But I also think that there are many dangers, and for that, I think countries, people have to come together to see how it is that they're going to master the technology and not the technology master them. I think we have to think about how you don't have one set of capacities in a part of the world that know more, that will impose what it is that technology is going to do in your countries, and whether it is good for you or it is not good for you. So they're not just selling hardware. And it's why that the Summit of the Future, we're having a conversation about the Global Digital Compact, how to protect the potentials of technology, how to determine that it's not just Silicon Valley in the US that is evolving and at the helm of shaping what happens, but that you have Silicon Valleys all over the world, and that they are, that we are increasing the capacities of young people to take those decisions and to grow those hubs, to grow innovation. And of course, the scouting movement, I think, is a big place to start. So for technology, I'm excited about AI. I'm excited about what it can do. I think we have to all be aware of what it cannot do, and some of the harms that it could bring, and put in those guardrails so that we can use this much better.
Thank you. I think this is a new power in the word, and if it's in the right hands, I mean, it can have a great potential and impact. My last question to you is, what advice can you give to young leaders in scouting who aspire to make a positive difference in this world?
Well, I think, keep your energy. As we said, when we were young, if somebody said to us, it's going to take you a decade to get somewhere, we would often say, no, I want to do this yesterday. So keep that energy in the room, keep that must-do. But I think part of the intergenerational imperative today is not my advice to you, but it is also about you shaping the response that you get from me. What is it that you want? And then maybe I'm better advised to say to you, well, actually this is very possible, but it's your journey. And underscore that it's your journey. This is going to take a lifetime. You're talking about life cycles, and when you talk about a life cycle from the time that you begin to that you end, it's exciting. Don't try to do it all in a decade. There are like 7 or 8 decades you've got to get through, so don't try to get there too soon. I would say that there's a sense of urgency for many things to happen today, but there's no hurry to fail. It's really important that you make the most of it. You enjoy creating those networks, those relationships. Today, in the last few days that you've had, you strengthen those human bonds. Nothing can replace that. We will have a new era of technology that perhaps will make us a little more distant and alone, but we have to create these spaces because the power of human interaction and connectivity is so important. It's what allows us to move hearts and minds to get things done. It gives us courage when we least feel we have it. We hone in on our identities when we suddenly find ourselves in such a world of diversity where everyone is special, and that comes together. So look around you, find what it is that inspires you, that puts fire in your stomach, and go with it, and make sure that you're focused. There is no speech that you come up to the table to make. If it's your experience, no one can take it away from you. If it's your knowledge, no one can take it away from you. You don't need the talking points, you don't need the cards. So be very much about the courages of your conviction, your identity, and the pathway that you want to take, and take people with you. In Africa, what is the strongest thing that we have? Our sense of community. We do things together. We cry together, we laugh together. If you want to know where to find Africans gathered, it is births, it is passings, it is marriages. And so this is what is important, the community, and that starts with you.
Thank you so much for your inspirational message.
Well, we have it. And if there's anything that we can take away from this discussion, and I know you guys would wish that there was more, is that scouting is exactly the place to build more, to find the inspiration, the cooperation, and way more. Scouting presents a huge potential, and I wish that listening to Amina Mohammed, we can have the inspiration and more, and the motivation to do more and to create a better world. Thank you so much, Amina Mohammed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And now, for our next segment, I would just like to ask our volunteers if they can bring more chairs, because this next segment is very important and it involves very, very inspirational and big names. So we'll just wait for a few seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this interruption. I will get off the stage and I will come back. I'm really sorry. Apologies for this interruption, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, this happens. So, after this enlightening conversation, we are now honored to welcome our panel of esteemed guests and partners for a discussion about the trends of the world. Joining Melissa and me, please welcome to the 43rd World Scout Conference stage, Her esteemed Highness Rani Al-Mashat, Minister of Planning, Economic Development, and International Cooperation of the Arab Republic of Egypt. I would also like to call to the stage Dr. Kevin Frey, CEO of Generation Unlimited, UNICEF. I would also like to call Carlos Sanve, Secretary General of World YMCA. And last but definitely not least, Chris Purifoy, CEO and co-founder of the Learning Economy Foundation. So, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And I would like to start with Her Excellency Rani Al-Mashat. So, as Minister of Planning, Economic Development, and International Cooperation in a country with a population that could be best described as a young population, how do you envision the role of young people in shaping the future of development, taking into consideration the current global trends?
Thank you so much, and congratulations on this fabulous event with the energy since yesterday. And I want to thank my colleague, Minister of Youth and Sports, and everyone who has worked to bring this Congress together. when you take a look at Egypt, Egypt also representing Africa, and as you rightly pointed out, it's the youth that are the biggest asset in our economies. When we're talking about SDGs, when we're talking about localizing SDGs particularly, it is only through participation of all stakeholders. And when the biggest number of stakeholders are from the youth, it comes as a no-brainer that they have to be hands-on, involved in everything that the government is trying to think of. In our case, in Egypt, we take the journey towards 2030 very seriously. We've been engaged through governments in different initiatives. We also have involved the private sector because we all know that all hands on deck. We can't, as governments, be able to reach 2030 by ourselves. We need the private sector, we need the international community, we need the NGOs, and of course we need the youth and the women. The Deputy Secretary General mentioned inclusivity, leaving no one behind, and in order to create an economy which is inclusive, all voices have to be presented. In the case of Egypt, we have more than one example of how the youth are participating in this policy dialogue, and let me just mention two of them. The first, we have a very important initiative that is related to development in villages at the local level, which is called Haya Karima, or Decent Life. We have more than 3 million volunteers from youth working in these villages along with the government in order to try and make sure that the different services reach the villages and reach those in the villages. So this is one key example of where the youth are actually participating into this quest and journey towards localizing development. The other very important initiative, and I know that Kevin is going to talk about this, is Generation Unlimited. We have an Egyptian chapter of that, Shabab Balad, and it's also with my colleague Minister of Youth and other ministers who are playing an important role. We have a steering committee. The UNRC, Ms. Elena, is with me as a co-chair, but this is a very important example of youth participation within the policy dialogue. The youth are with us on the board as well. Private sector is there. So this is a very important mechanism through which their demands when it comes to training, when it comes to different, we talked about technology, how all of that is integrated in their journey as well when it comes to effective participation. So these are just two examples of where youth are coming in the development equation for Egypt. But there's so much that we're doing in planning economic development. I know that this conference is about change. When you talk about change and agility, when you're planning for the future as a government, you have to take these principles into account. We are in an economy today globally which is prone to so many crises. So unless everybody's concern is taken on board, it's going to be very, very difficult to move ahead. And when we talk about youth, it's not just youth in this country, but it's youth everywhere, because it is, conferences and associations such as this where there's so much peer learning and also cross-fertilization. So there's plenty that one can think of, whether it's planning, economic development, and of course, the common denominator of all of this is international cooperation. Without international cooperation, we just had a closed session with the DSG. International cooperation comes at the heart of how we will be able to leapfrog and actually accelerate our journey towards 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think it really rings true that young people are a growing stakeholder, and a stakeholder that needs to be taken into account in spaces like international cooperation. But scoping out a little bit, the UN estimates that there will be 9.7 billion people living on the planet by 2050. So, Carlos Sanve, this implies a change in our demographic trend with an aging population. An evolution of immigration trends and diversity. How can this impact the future of youth organizations like Scouting and, of course, the YMCA?
Thank you, Noor. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Greetings from your brothers and sisters and community members of YMCA. I'm also here representing our colleague of the Big Six. With the Scouts, we work together for what we call the global youth mobilization. In the last 3 years, we mobilized together about 17 million. Ahmad talked about that yesterday, to give the money on the hand of young people to develop the solution. So we are very grateful to be here and to share this with you. Deputy Secretary General, thank you very much for your insight, and we'd like to congratulate the UN for also appointing the Assistant General Secretary for the Youth, and we are so happy that the UN moved to that level. So to your question, I think it's a question of either we game over or game changer. In 2050, are we going to be in the game over position or game changer position? So there's three things I will develop to answer to that. The first is about workforce and demography. 9.7 billion by 2050. But what it is saying is that by 2064, the world is going to shift, that there will be more death than newborn. So by that moment, humanity is going to cease to renew itself. So it's a very serious issue that we need to take into consideration. But if you come back to this topic, what this is saying is we have two levels of things. One is in the developing economies, generally we call this global south, we'll have oversupply of youth at working age and talent. But in the aging society, like China, in some countries in Europe and North America, we have the undersupply of talent. Now, if you combine these two with an economic climate crisis, this is going to fuel migration. And this migration with internal displaced person, refugee, put pressure on social depolarization of the society. What we are witnessing today is going to be more than that. So we have a serious issue there. The second element I'd like to describe is about the generation. We all know, and Deputy Secretary General talked about what is happening in Kenya with the Gen Z and in many places of the world. This current generation of young people are driven by justice, equity, peace, and everything. But the same young people are going through very difficult time. And again, in the true level of the world, on the global south, with unemployment, these are the people that Professor Harari talked about to say, if nothing is done, there will be an emergence of a new class, and he called it a useless class. So these are people who are being good for nothing. These are people who are not only unemployed, but they will be unemployable. So this is an opportunity for our organization, all the youth organization, to continue, because when AI is going to take all those entry-level jobs, it's going to take all those routine jobs that young people usually do, this is for us the opportunity to teach young people skills that cannot be taken by AI and others. So that's our role. And the third one, and I will end here, uniqueness of our organization, the Scout YMCA, all our big six organizations, is on our values. Is our values. We are rooted on our values. And we need to continue to build this alliance of value-based educationists. We need to be education people, young people on value-based, because AI is not going to take that one, and this is where we're going to remain in business forever. So yes, there is a future for organization, but we need to continue to adapt to those realities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think you spoke extensively about an AI takeover or a digital takeover. So Dr. Kevin Frey, welcome. We see our ways of working changing with digitalization and globalization. So I have to ask, what are the skills young people will be expecting to have in the coming decade?
Thanks, Noor, and I think it's a really important question, especially for this room. Just before I start, though, I do want to thank our host, the government in Egypt here, and the amazing two ministers, Minister of Youth and Sports and Minister Rania, who have been leading Shabab Balad here, a public-private youth partnership for young people focused on exactly what you were talking about, skilling young people and connecting them to opportunities for livelihoods and social impact. It's also, I'm so excited, Rania, that you've agreed to join our global board with CEOs of some of the world's biggest companies to actually try to reach hundreds of millions of young people. with partners like Scouts and YMCA going forward. Okay, when you start to think about skills and skills for the future, I think you have to look at the macro trends. And I think as a young person, the twin transitions that are going to shape the future of your lives are underway and they're irreversible. It's a digital transition and a green transition. So let me start first with the green transition. The ILO projects that in the next 10 years, 80 million brown jobs, 80 million quote unquote brown jobs will go away. But the good news is 90 million green jobs will be created. That's a net production of 10 million new jobs. And who are uniquely positioned to take these green jobs? Young people. So, and I hope you'll allow me, I'm Canadian, so I need to tell an ice hockey story here. I hope there's a Canadian somewhere in here. But yes, Canada, all right. So the greatest ice hockey player of all time is somebody called Wayne Gretzky. He set all the records. And someone asked him once why he was so great, because physically he shouldn't have even been in the league, let alone been the greatest. And he had a really, really simple answer. He looked at the interviewer and he said, well, I skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is. And I think as young people in this room, as you think about where the puck, where the ball is going, it's green, the future is green, and you're uniquely positioned to take advantage of those jobs going forward. Secondly is digital. We've heard lots of discussion already. We're just barely into the morning. We've heard AI probably mentioned 15 times already. As we look to the future of work, and we have private sector leaders, CEOs of some of the world's biggest companies working on this with us, there is no question that the future of work is tech-enabled. And everybody likes to think, oh, that means Silicon Valley. Everybody needs to be a coder or a digital entrepreneur. That's not the case. Everything, we're going all the way to smallhold farmers in Africa. They need to have the digital skills they need for the future, things to access the spot price of potatoes so they know when to bring their goods to market, to buy insurance on their phone. Every young person needs digital skills. But now the big bomb, the AI bomb. So what does this mean? Jobs going away. Oh my God, what's in the future? How do I know how to navigate this future of AI? So we've done a lot of thinking about this. At the UN General Assembly, we'll release a big paper. 60 organizations, private sector, UN have all fed into this. And while there is some doom and gloom that jobs will go away, in fact, young people are uniquely positioned going forward to take advantage of the AI revolution. And again, it's irreversible. You will be the digital AI natives. Us old folks on stage are never going to figure out how to use AI to do jobs in 1 or 2 minutes that took us literally weeks. So at this moment in time, this is a huge productivity and efficiency driver. And if you can skill up quickly on AI right now, you will be the labor force of the future. So I think AI for young people is an extraordinary opportunity. The third set of skills that I want to mention, and then I'll wrap, is uniquely human skills. We heard the Deputy Secretary General talk about it. Noor, we heard you talk about empathy. There are skills that AI are not going to replace. Innovation, creativity, leadership, collaboration, communication. Invest deeply in developing your uniquely human skills. And specifically empathy. Think about community health workers, teachers. In an AI world, we're all going to want more human connectivity. So deeply, deeply invest in your uniquely human skills. And the final skill that I want to mention is entrepreneurial skills. And I'll finish with a quick story. So I was in a classroom in India. I got put on the spot in rural India with a bunch of 15-year-olds. And they said, Kevin, would you like to ask the young lady at the front of the class a question? And I was totally unprepared. So I did what every horrible old person does. And I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what a horrible question. It was the only thing that came to my mind. But her answer, I'll never, ever forget. And she said to me, I don't want to be a job seeker. I want to be a job creator. I want to be an entrepreneur. There are opportunities in the future for young people not just to try to find employment, but to create new companies, digital companies, green companies that are creating livelihoods for themselves, jobs for their communities, and building their national economy. So I would encourage everybody here to invest in entrepreneurial skills for the future. Thanks, Noor.
Thank you so much. And I think it's really important to understand this aspect of what do we bring to the table and what does AI bring to the table. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, I have a question for a very inspiring entrepreneur. So I have to ask you, Chris Purifoy, according to the digital report, over 60% of the world population already has access to the internet. But as digital will continue to take more space in human lives, what is at stake, especially in the educational field?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I like to start just by talking about myself as a child. And I want to underscore some stuff that's been said here already, which is, you know, when I was growing up, it wasn't a very cool thing to be creative, to have critical thinking. I like to play with Legos. I like to build things. I like to create worlds. And they would say, stop, do your math skills, you know, do your STEM skills. And I think what's at stake is that we don't continue to innovate, that we continue to do what's been done in the past. You know, the truth is, you know, digital isn't a silver bullet. It's not going to solve everything for us, but it will give access to greater skills for individuals around the world. You know, they like to say that you can get access to a Harvard-level education right now online if you know where to look. This is true. You know, and the more that we start to verify those skills and start to understand that when people earn skills that they are a currency for their future, the better the world's going to be. You know, and again, when I was a child, growing up thinking that creativity wasn't going to be important for my future, this was really not good for me. You know, I grew up thinking I was a bad kid. I grew up thinking, you know, I need to learn to do different things. But in fact, every individual's uniqueness is their superpower. You know, we're learning that neurodivergency isn't a weakness. It actually can be a great asset for you in your life. And the more that we can empower each individual to know that they're worthy, to know that their uniqueness is a superpower, to know that they're sovereign as individuals and that they can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and actually accomplish their goals, the better we're going to be in the future. You know, and you know, I also think it's important to start to understand that learning happens everywhere, right? Another thing is we tend to raise up of the formalized education, but in fact, you can learn skills playing games. You can learn skills with Legos. You can learn skills in every aspect of your life. And you know, no one knows this better than the Scouts, right? I mean, the truth is, I want to live in a world in the future where we have proven what everyone already knows, which is that Scouts create better workers, they create better leaders, they create better teammates. You know, the truth is these human skills he was talking about, creativity, teamwork, these are going to be skills that are really going to change the world. And the more that we can empower individuals to do that, whether it's through digital innovations or, you know, physical innovations, the better we're going to be in the future.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Melissa Ferrelli, and she's our WASM Global Youth Representative in the Gender Patrol. So I want to ask you, already more than half of the world's population lives in urban areas, and the forecasts say that this will continue to rise. Now, what are the consequences of this evolution on the younger generation and on our lifestyles? So we've spoken about education, we've spoken about digitalization, entrepreneurship, and how can youth organization play a vital role in equipping young people to navigate and address these challenges that arise from this urban revolution?
Thank you, Noor, for the question. So I think urbanization is a global trend, but what does that really mean for us, the youth that are going through this transformation? So let's just take a moment to think about something that we experience every day, the cities we live in. These places are buzzing with energy, opportunities, and innovation. They give better access to education, healthcare, and job markets. They're considered centers for possibility. I mean, just imagine the creativity that sparks when so many diverse cultures and ideas collide in one place. And so you can understand why urban areas can be incredibly exciting for young people. But let's not sugarcoat it. I mean, urbanization can lead to, like, severe challenges. I mean, haven't you ever felt overwhelmed by the pressure to keep up in a fast-paced city life? I know I have. The competition is fierce and the stress can be real. I can tell you about it. And the constant hustle can make it difficult for us to find the balance and maintain well-being. So I have a lot of friends and colleagues who continue or have experienced immense stress, and this, stress to succeed, and this can lead to anxiety and burnout. And then there's the stark reality of inequality. Not everyone has access to the same opportunities that cities offer. And a lot of young people are left behind, and they are trying to fit in a world that promises so much but doesn't always deliver equally. I also want to talk about environmental consequences that are critical issues. So in our cities, in my case, Beirut, they're often polluted and overcrowded, and they lack the green spaces that are essential for our well-being. So growing up, we didn't really have a lot of open areas that we can just escape to. And so the places that are supposed to give us a better life often feel suffocating for us. And yeah, I think that these circumstances don't really just affect our physical health, but also they shape the way we live. So imagine every day walking in a congested, polluted city, and this will definitely create a sense of disconnection from nature, and we just feel stuck in a cycle of stress, and we feel far away from the life that we genuinely seek to have, the lifestyle that we genuinely seek to have. And finally, I want to talk about culture. So urbanization really has an effect on our culture, and it sometimes you lose our identity. So for example, I'm going to talk about my country. So Lebanon is very well known for its tradition and cultural heritage, but many young people are stuck between the pool of urban lifestyle, and on the other side, the desire to feel connected to our roots. And so we're stuck in a way where we feel culturally disoriented. So all of this together, yes, it's true, urbanization has and provides certain positive opportunities, but it does also make us confront very difficult and serious challenges that affect our well-being, our sense of identity, and also it affects our quality of life. But this is exactly where we come in. I mean, as youth, we have the power to reshape these cities and these communities. And youth organizations like Scouting are not just here to adapt to these challenges, but rather to transform them into opportunities. And so I'm going to talk about three things that I think are very important when it comes to youth organization, and specifically Scouting. So from my personal experience, Scouting in Lebanon has really exposed me to a lot of initiatives where I've learned outside of traditional classrooms a lot of skills that you all talked about, and these include leadership and critical thinking and problem solving, and all of these skills are essential tools to navigate the complexities of urban areas. And so this is one thing, and then the second thing is, and I think you would all agree with me, that Scouting creates a sense of community and belonging. And in a lot of the landscape areas, we feel isolated, but then Scouting creates this environment where young people come together to connect, to share experiences, and just to feel supported. And this is really crucial in urban areas where sometimes we feel alone. And then the last thing is, youth organizations are really and can be the bridges between young people and decision makers. I mean, as a youth representative, we work a lot on policy making and trying to change things that we as youth don't agree with. And so overall, I think we just need to remember that we have the tools, we have the energy, and we have the creativity to do something about this. And yeah, I think overall we just need to, so instead of just getting by these urban areas, I think we should just claim them as our own. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And I think when we speak about urban areas, almost every time it is followed by talking about climate change and climate concerns. And so I wanted to ask, because in urban areas, even though urbanization comes with a lot of severe climate change consequences, and I know that if there is anything on on the youth agenda that is more urgent and that they feel more even I would go to extent of saying fatalistic about, it would be climate change. So, Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, I wanted to ask you, so climate change is impacting us on a daily basis, and not only in urban area, because climate change does not know boundaries. But what are the challenges that young people, and as a consequence, scouting, should be prepared for to answer in the coming years?
Well, thank you for that question. I mean, when we talk about issues which are cross-cutting, regardless of age, country, level of development, it's climate change. Climate change affects all of us. It affects women particularly disproportionately. And when we talk about urban areas, as you just mentioned, cities are the biggest contributors to, I don't know if the right word is pollution, but they are, unless taken into account when it comes to design, is going to be even more damaging going forward. And that's because more cities are needed, more cities are being invested in, and there needs to be a very conscious design of cities which are able to recycle, cities which are able to actually reduce the carbon footprint. Egypt hosted COP27 in 22, and we're hosting the international conference for with UN Habitat in November 2024. So this is coming up, where we're going to be talking exactly about cities and about how, you know, whether it's the governments that are designing or creating enabling environments for the private sector to come in to actually create smarter cities, cleaner cities, is going to be very top on the agenda. If we take climate action along with urbanization, there is a very important contribution from youth, and that's because youth are advocates and catalysts for change when it comes to climate space. In our case, during COP27, we had also with colleagues from the UN, a competition, Climate Tech Run, where we were looking at solutions for adaptation and mitigation. We also have another very important initiative with the ministry, which is the Green Projects. This is an initiative led by or under the auspices of the president, and it's really to encourage solutions in different governorates, including the big cities such as Cairo and Giza, where there are solutions to green the surroundings in cities. So all of these are important because they shed light as a young entrant into a company or into a job or contributing with respect, regardless of the activity, you will have consciously thought about how to, if not green, but at least avoid some of the repercussions of big cities. So it's a very true challenge. It's a global challenge, and that's why, similar to COP27 or COP28, COP29, which is going to come up, also the UN Habitat and the urban conference, which is coming up in 2024, are going to be very, very important examples where we pull all these challenges out and try to see collectively together how we will be able to solve those, or at least put some pointers in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. Our time, unfortunately, was short, but we definitely all have learned from this very fruitful panel discussion. So give them once again a round of applause, and back to the conference chairpersons.
Thank you to our guests for their time and great insights. We hope that you all have gained a better understanding of how these mega trends of the world provide a comprehensive framework for the complex dynamics shaping our future and therefore our strategic development process for the future of Scouting. We also want to thank all of you who energetically participated in this session, and we are looking forward to hearing from you again at the next session where we are talking about the next strategy for Scouting. But before that, let's take a look at the recap of our first day at the 43rd World Scout Conference. While our team of volunteers are still setting up for the video, we will now proceed to the next session.
Okay, so we will be checking later the recap video, but meanwhile, we will be continuing with our day today. So while we are setting up the stage for what you can see is a more colorful and dynamic session, I'll be introducing our next one in French and in English. And for that reason, I'd like to also take the opportunity and share with you that this conference has volunteer interpreters coming from around the world to help us make this conference more accessible and inclusive. And I believe that this deserves a huge round of applause for their time volunteering to translate to all of us here. Thank you to all the volunteer interpreters who are supporting this conference. We will try to speak slow, do not switch between languages to make your job easier here. Passons maintenant à l'un des sujets uniques et passionnants de cette conférence, notre prochaine stratégie pour le scoutisme. Pour présenter l'aventure qui attend le mouvement scout au cours de la prochaine décennie, j'aimerais accueillir sur scène, après la version anglaise, Mehdi Ben Khalil et Yodema, membres du Comité mondial du scoutisme, ainsi que Riz Medina, jeune conseillère au Comité mondial du scoutisme. Let's now move to one of the unique and exciting topics of this conference, our next strategy for Scouting. To showcase the journey that awaits the Scout movement in the next decade, I would like to welcome to the stage World Scout Committee members Mehdi Ben Khalil and Yodema, as well as World Scout Committee Youth Advisor Riz Medina. Please welcome Yo, Mehdi, and Riz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. How great to be with all of you today. We are really looking forward to introducing the next strategy for Scouting. Before we do that, we would like to share why we are so excited and talk to you about the journey that we took with Scouts from all around the world to develop this new strategy. Yo, do you want to share why we are so thrilled about this new strategy?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So, we believe it's an incredibly exciting time to be a Scout, and it's an even more exciting time to be part of this very conference, because you have before you an opportunity to help shape the future of Scouting. Without exaggeration, it's the dawn of a new era for Scouting. With a new vision and the next strategy for Scouting, we set the direction of travel for a movement of 57 million children and young people across 176 NSOs. This is us saying, this is who we are, this is who we want to be, and how we want to create a brighter future for the next generation. Of course, we didn't develop this vision or this strategy alone, nor did we do it overnight. Mehdi, do you want to walk us a little bit through the process that we took to get there, together with the strategy group, our great team of volunteers and staff members, including world and regional committee members, partners, and staff?
Sure, of course, and because you cannot say where you are going if you don't know where you are starting from, we started off with an in-depth review. It helped us to understand what we achieved with Vision 2023, what worked on, what we learned along the way. In parallel, we undertook a research to understand what the future might look like. We gathered over 20 focus groups and had some really interesting conversations with young people, adult leaders, NSO leadership, external partners, and WOSM team members. Through the global consultation of the youth talks, we gathered over 930,000, yes, you heard right, 930,000 contributions from young scouts and non-scouts about the future to find out about the world they would like to live in. So you, in this process, what was your favorite moment?
Oh, there was a really great memory of the workshop that we did, the strategy workshop that we organized. This is where we invited over 70 participants from across 35 NSOs, joined by regional and global volunteers and staff. So we came together for 3 very intense days of conversations, engaging debates and discussions, but also rich exchanges that helped us develop the very first draft of the strategy. This workshop also led us to a new idea of developing impact statements that didn't exist in any of our previous strategies before. Reese, do you remember when we launched that very first draft?
Yes, it was a great moment. And it gave us the opportunity to finally hear from the whole movement and gather feedback on the first draft from scouts all around the world. More than 90 NSOs shared their responses and insights and thoughts on the draft of the strategy, allowing us to improve the proposal and ensure that the realities and the needs of our movement, of our diverse NSOs, were supported through our ambitious plan for the future. This is how we got to where we are today. So, what exactly is our next strategy? Let's take a look.
As the world's leading youth movement, we move with every new generation. Inspired by the ideas, ambitions, and energy of a global community of over 57 million scouts and volunteers worldwide, it's you that is now shaping the future of scouting for the next 10 years, so that we can continue to lead the way as an inclusive, sustainable, and impactful movement for young people everywhere. And it starts with a new strategy that will bring focus to what we want to achieve, from a vision to be the world's most inspiring and inclusive youth movement that's focused on creating transformative learning experiences for every young person, everywhere. To our impact statements that are about creating a more peaceful and inclusive world, one that's shaped by young people and which contributes to a more sustainable world. But it's also about how we continue to inspire and motivate young people to get involved in scouting and to see us as both innovative and relevant to their lives today, positively shaping the life they lead. Through our global movement, we set young people on a journey of discovery, enriching and equipping them with a sense of adventure, curiosity, and appreciation for different cultures. We open eyes, minds, and hearts to new journeys and possibilities, helping form the foundational skills and values for all walks of life imaginable, from inventors, adventurers, artists, teachers, athletes, scientists, and entrepreneurs. Our movement's value to the world is equipping young people with the skills and values to shape the life they lead. So, let's get ready for adventure. Let's be ready for life. We are World Scouting.
I think this video represents really the spirit of our next strategy. Reese and Maddie, what do you say if we do what Scouts do best and we roll up our sleeves and actually try to build this strategy and make this video into reality right here in Cairo? Because I think I actually spotted some building blocks that look suspiciously like our strategy here across the stage. Maddie.
You are right. Look over there. I see a strategic priority for the movement. And here, an impact statement. You know, when we think about it, our strategy is like a house we built for the future, one that is like an upgrade from the current home that Scouting is for so many people around the world. It has its foundations, which are the elements we want to work on in our organization. Do you see any strategic priority for the organization?
I think I actually do. So I think the very first one I can see is a fit-for-purpose organization. And I think I can spot it right over there. This is all about championing transparency and about being accountable, efficient, and improving our governance structures in the coming years. It's also about becoming more financially sustainable. That allows us or helps us to expand the movement and reach a growing number of local communities worldwide and strengthen our commitment to youth leadership. So this is our very first building block. Reese, what do you think is next?
Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. Well, next on our foundation is an adaptable organization, which is right over there. And for this, we will adapt to better respond to the needs and interests of young people, innovates and accelerates digital transformation across our organization, work with data collection, evidence-based reporting, and learning platforms to make better informed decisions that strengthen Scouting's impact. Sounds great, huh? I think we have one more for this layer. Mehdi?
That's right, Reese. I can see an influential organization from here. This priority speaks to our ambition to be a united, vocal, and relevant actor that positions Scouting as a safe, impactful, and trusted organization. We will be leaders for non-formal education, working with a strong network of partners and organizations who share our vision to empower children and young people to take on the world's greatest challenges. Okay, so now that we have our foundation for the future of our organization, let's think about the future for our movements.
I think the very first thing we need here is our core business, education. So our first building block is education, which is right over there. Here we want to continue to inspire children and young people and respond to their needs and interests. We want to focus on competency-based learning experiences and innovate our educational programs. Strengthen our Scout method through digital and real-world solutions, embrace our diversity, and ensure that Scouting is accessible, rewarding, and most of all, fun and engaging.
That sounds inspiring for education. I see strength in diversity and inclusion over there. We want our membership to reflect the diverse societies that we serve and broaden our reach into new communities. We will actively remove barriers, reimagine the Scout program, engage more diverse volunteers, and reshape our organization.
Thank you.
So we can provide every young person with the opportunity to join Scouting.
Wow, I'm loving this. Look at that one. Guarantee safeguarding and well-being. Thanks to this area, young people feel free and confident to be themselves. Scouting provides a safe environment for adventure. Children, young people, and adults in Scouting are healthy, protected, and supported to grow. Scouting adopts a zero-tolerance mindset to prevent harmful situations. Safeguarding and well-being are essential elements to achieving Scouting missions.
Thank you. Incredible. We have number 3 there. There is one more strategic priority for the movement, and it's a key one. You want to give me a drum roll, please? Very good. Good reactions. It's value volunteering. Here, we really want to work on actively recruiting, developing, and retaining more and more diverse volunteers to deliver a safe and, above all, high-quality program for our young people, creating meaningful and rewarding experiences we will create more flexible opportunities to allow volunteers to develop new competences across the years.
That is a strong foundation for our movement and for our organizations. So now, let's think about the world we want to live in. All these priorities allow Scouts to make a positive difference in their communities as we work towards creating a better world. To capture this, our strategy looks into the world we want to see for the future. That is where our next floor comes into the picture for our house. So, let's check out the impact statements. Betty, I think you spotted one there?
Indeed, Reese, I do. It is a peaceful and inclusive world. We want to eliminate discrimination and to ensure safe and equal opportunities for everyone. This is very important so that we can create a peaceful and inclusive world. That sounds really inspiring to contribute to. Hugh, do you have another one?
I do, Mehdi. And I saw one that I think you're all gonna love. A world shaped by youth. I think it's over there. We want to see young people to become barrier breakers, bridge builders, decision makers, and above all, responsible, active citizens. Empower them with the core competences and values developed through Scouting. Imagine if Scouting would lead this change. It would be incredible. Now, Reese, where is our third impact statement?
It's over here. There it is. It's a sustainable world. For the next decade, we'll more than ever before work to create a sustainable world by educating and empowering young people to adapt, mitigate, and take action on climate change. We will lead by example and advocate for environmental sustainability and climate resilience to create a positive impact locally and globally. Oh, this house is coming together really nice. Yeah. And now that we know what we want to achieve with this floor of impact statements and how we want to achieve it through the strategic priorities for our movement and the organization, it's time to put on a roof. The ultimate vision of our movement. Come on, guys. All right, conference, let's cheer them on. Almost there. Our vision, to be the world's most inspiring and inclusive youth movement, creating transformative learning experiences for every young person, everywhere. Wow, isn't that definitely amazing? So many. How will we implement this?
Yes, it is. Another innovation we are bringing to this new strategy is how we will work to successfully implement it. Let us introduce you to the WASM planning framework, which consists of 3 key elements. First is the WASM planning and coordination group. This group of volunteers and staff from across the world and regions will help coordinate the planning process. They will ensure better strategic alignment across all levels and foster collaboration between regions and the global level, and ensure that there is a continuous support for regions and NSOs as they develop and implement their plans.
Second is our library of objectives we can see at the top. This is a set of shared outcome-focused objectives to be used for our triennial plans, both at world and at regional level, that can be adapted to reflect regional context and realities. By having shared objectives, we can make sure that our efforts are aligned, yet adaptable, so that while each region or world level might approach these objectives in a different way, the outcomes we're working towards remain consistent. This new approach will help us to harness the collective power of our movement, driving towards common goals while representing and embracing our unique contexts.
The last key element of the Wisdom Planning Framework is the unified monitoring and evaluation system. This new system is designed to track world and regional progress towards the outcomes that we've set, provide valuable insights into what's working and where we may need to adjust our efforts. By using a shared monitoring and evaluation framework, we can measure the impact of our actions consistently across the movements. This not only ensures accountability, but also helps us learn from our experiences and continuously improve our approach, making sure we stay on track to meet our strategic goals. This planning framework will ensure that while our efforts are united by a common vision, they are also adaptable to the diverse needs and opportunities present across our global movement. By working together within this framework, we can ensure our collective efforts lead to a stronger, more impactful Scouting movement worldwide.
All right, we are about to wrap up and let you go into breakouts to actually explore the strategy yourself. But before we do, I want to highlight one really key element about this next strategy. This is a vision for the movement and a strategy for all of us. We can't deliver this alone, at the world or at the regional level even. We aren't the ones that are going to recruit young people for you, nor are we going to be the ones that can recruit volunteers for you at a local level. We can, however, and we will support you, but we can only write this next chapter in our history together. And we need your support at national level, all 176 of you, to make this vision and this strategy a reality. This is a vision for the movement and a strategy for all of us. Make it yours, so that when you go back home after this conference to your NSOs, either here in the Arab region, in Africa, Asia Pacific, Inter-America or Europe, you can do so with your shoulders straight and be proud to say that you are a scout and that you helped shape the future of our movement.
You know what? I think everyone here would like sometimes to visit our next strategy for Scouting House themselves. Wouldn't you agree, conference? Yes? Come on, okay. Excellent, because after the break, you will have an opportunity to join breakout rooms and go more in-depth into the different impact statements and strategic priorities of the house. You'll be able to reflect and share your thoughts about these different elements of the strategy. We invite you to join your group by language, based on the map you can see on the app or on the screen behind you, if it's not there, maybe, okay. There it is, perfect. And, well, behind me, actually, not behind you. Keep in mind that the same sessions are available virtually for our online participants. For online participants, go to the session of your choice on the app and join through the link. Be careful, there are limited spots. Pick the language and join a group using the token that you'll receive by our great ISD at the entrance of the plenary hall. So you'll see them in a moment. Your facilitator will explain the details of your breakout session once you have joined. Don't forget to pick up your token and to find your group in the designated locations. To end, we would like to thank you for building our strategy for Scouting House with us. Now, back to our chairs.
Un grand merci pour Yo, Mehdi, and Riz. A huge thank you to Yo, Mehdi, and Riz for showcasing how we will be building this house. Quelle séance instructive. Conférence, profitez maintenant de la pause et de ces séance institutionnelle sur la prochaine stratégie pour le scoutisme. Nous vous retrouvons en salle plénière à 14 h. Il y aura une petite pause maintenant et après on devrait passer pour les séances institutionnelles pour discuter la prochaine stratégie pour le scoutisme. Veuillez choisir votre langue préférée. What an informative session. A huge thank you for Mehdi, Yo, and Reese for showcasing how we can build this house. Please, conference, enjoy the break now, and please go to the breakout sessions to take advantage and discuss further the next strategy for scouting in your preferred language. We will reconvene here in the plenary at 2 p.m. Thank you.